Hi. In this video, I'm going to show you how to transfer this Fiat flip key from the old to the new casing. This key is also used for some Peugeot and Citroën vans, and we've also seen references to it with Lancia. First, we'll open the original and worn key before we move on to the new casing. For this transfer service, we'll at least need a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. We'll start as follows. We flip the key open, and the edge you see here around the buttons, that can will take that off. Simply place your fingers between the casing and try to pry the top part off here. At a certain point, we get this ring off and set it aside for now. Next, we turn the whole thing over. We pull it a little towards ourselves. And then we actually move it over the key ring. So we move it towards ourselves. I'll do it again, a bit more slowly. And once we've done that, we move it away from ourselves. Then on the back we see a flip screw. You'll also need a small screwdriver for this. It's also the only screw in this key, but it's held together with several clips, these, and these. In a moment, we'll carefully loosen them one by one and try to open up the casing a bit more. But before we do that, I first want to remove the battery from the casing. So I'll loosen the battery holder, pull out the battery, and we won't need it again until later. With that said, place the flat screwdriver underneath and try to keep the two halves slightly apart so it doesn't immediately snap back into place and get stuck. Well, that was one. That's two. That's three. And finally, here we have at last number 4. I'm now opening the key, and this is what I see. The small spring, which comes out here, and I'll just put it back in its place for now. We don't actually need it at the moment. The circuit board is where all the work is done. The car can be started without the circuit board, and of course it also can be operated with a remote control without it. So we're going to transfer that in a moment. We don't need the bottom part at all anymore, and in the top part is the key blade, and I'll explain more about what we can do with that in a moment. But first, let's open the new key housing. So we click it open. I already heard that there are some loose parts inside here, like the little screw. The screw was delivered separately, so I'll set that aside as well. I'm trying again to loosen the ring around the buttons here. Next, I detach the back and gently pull it towards myself. Then, of course, we still have the screw. And we can get back to work with those 4 clips. I'll go through them a bit faster than before. 1, 2. So far, I have 3 of them cooperating with me quite well, responding just as I had hoped and making the process much smoother. However, the 4th one is proving to be a bit more challenging. This particular one isn't as willing to go along with what I'm trying to do, and it's taking a lot more. There we go, and that's number 4. As I said, it's important to keep the halves apart, because otherwise another clip might snap back into place, as I just experienced myself. Now, I'll also put the little spring back in its place here, and this pulls on it here. Sometimes it happens that this metal battery holder is loose inside the casing. Make sure it fits in properly like this, so that it's clamped securely around the black plastic pin of the casing, and so that it can support the battery on the side here later. What we'll see in a moment is that once the battery holder is in place, it will be able to make contact with the side of the battery. In the upper part of the key, we can place the circuit board. We lay it down with the push buttons facing downward. And you can already see a very large hole in the circuit board here. Well, that's meant to fit around the notch of the key housing here. It can only be inserted in one way, and after that it can't really move anymore. As for the key blade, it works as follows. Transferring the key blade is difficult with this model. It is possible, but it's recommended to have some skill with it. This is how it works. You can't transfer the entire flip mechanism from the old one to the new one, because there are many different sizes of flip mechanisms known for Fiat. So there's a very good chance that they won't match up. What can you do instead? You can choose to tap out the little pin you see here with a small nail. So by using a small nail, you remove the pin. Then you can pull the key blade out of the flip mechanism. Do the same with the other one. And that way you can swap the blades and then put this locking pin back in place so it doesn't come loose again. Experience shows that this can actually be quite a hassle. And to be honest, almost every locksmith can just cut these nowadays as well. Save yourself the trouble. I would just spend that extra 10 or 15 euros on it. So for now, I'm putting the cut key aside and grabbing the other half of the casing. I'm turning it over for a moment and I'm going to put it in place. Now, it can happen that the key ring is actually loose inside the casing and might fall out. So hold it firmly for a moment and make sure it's positioned exactly right so it can click into place evenly on all sides. Once it's in place, press down a bit more firmly so that it's already secured here. And that's what we want to see all the way around on every side. Squeeze it a little. Once it's in place, I'll now insert the screw here. Next, the cover for the back. And the same goes for the ring around the buttons. Now, this part is done, but of course there's still a pretty essential component missing, and that's the battery and the battery holder. It was supplied as follows. Here we see the plastic battery holder with the metal insert. Sometimes this is also supplied separately, so take a good look at how it is secured in here. You simply slide it in from the bottom until it clicks into place around the plastic notch at the back, which keeps it in position. Now I'll take the battery out of the old one. This is a CR 2032 button cell battery. If it's already old, I'd recommend replacing it right away. And make sure that the text on the key is facing downward. We can also see a plus sign here. That matches the plus sign on the battery, so slide it all the way in. There's one more thing you need, and that's the screw. So place the screw in its position. I'll push it through a little bit. I wiggle it back and forth until it falls properly into place. Next, I put it back in neatly. We can see that the battery holder looks like this. We have the screw, the battery, and here a kind of protruding piece of plastic. You place that at the bottom. It will keep moving there when we turn it in a moment. We set it to the unlock position, so the arrow should be pointing that way, and we press it down completely. Then I turn it a quarter turn so that it is in the locked position, and now it can no longer be removed. Close it up again, and then you have a perfectly working flip key for your Fiat or Peugeot Citroën. I hope everything worked out. If you still have any questions, you can find our contact information in the description below this video, or you can leave a comment under this video. Success!